So for today's weekly Jinx video, which we do every Wednesday about anything to do with Jinx, and you decide that topic in the comment section down below, as well as this video acts as a weekly discussion thread on the Jinx subreddit, League of Jinx, feel free to check that out. This week we're going to be talking about the new item changes to Marksman, and then what items to possibly be building on Jinx. Which ones are good, which ones when do you possibly build them. I will briefly also talk about the item changes in themselves, but I won't go over stats specifically only because on the PvE, even at the time of recording this video, they're still doing some adjustments and changes to some of those items, so I don't want to give you false numbers that they might change later on. So, for example, one of the first major items that are getting changed that Jinx does build is Infinity Edge. It no longer has crit in it, it'll no longer, double your crit chance as well. It builds out of 2 BF swords, it gives you attack damage now, and some of your crit damage will be converted to true damage. So this item, while on live, might be debated to even be a first item after they lowered the cost on Jinx. Some people are saying now this is definitely not a first item anymore on Jinx specifically, because you won't get anything out of it but the AD, which could also change by the time it ships to live. When it comes to Zeal items, period, all Zeal's items got their cost increased because Zeal got its cost increased. It's going up from 1,200 to 1,300, and all Zeal items currently are at 2,800 gold from 2,600 gold, but beyond that, nothing's really changed about those items. So, one of the things you might still see is people actually deciding to go back to the whole Zeal item into an Infinity Edge, in which case you still get the BF sword, but you don't complete that item until you complete the Zeal item, so you get the crit and stuff from that as well. Another item that's kind of coming into the mix that some people are talking about, of course, is Stormrazor. Now again, I'm not giving stats specifically because those might be subject to change. What it pretty much does is it will give you some attack damage, it will give you some attack speed, and it'll also give you a guaranteed crit every 2.5 seconds if you haven't attacked. Some people are juggling around if this is a good item maybe to replace Infinity Edge as a starting item if you want some AD first, because it will give you attack speed and it also will give you some crit in its passive, a guaranteed crit as long as you're not attacking for about 2.5 seconds. So give or take who you ask about that one's kind of being juggled around as a first item or an earlier item even on Jinx, because it will give you crit, it will give you attack speed, and it will give you AD. And combined with the Zeal item, you're probably either building first or second, you'll still get a lot of crit from the Zeal item and attack speed as well, and then maybe go into an Infinity Edge or something like that. Another change that's kind of not maybe as major as those changes is lifesteal items. Things like Blade of the Ruined King and Bloodthirster, they're getting their costs decreased actually to probably make them a bit more efficient of a buy. If you need to build them situationally earlier, like maybe as a third item against something, maybe they're a bit more accessible now because they are 200 less gold. Compared to your Zeal items, which now would be 200 more gold, maybe offset that a little bit. But one of the also major changes to talk about really quick is to Last Whisper. Last Whisper will now be doing bonus penetration of armor, period, regardless. Not bonus armor that someone built, but just actually armor, period. I said bonus armor and I should have just said armor, period. Kind of like just flat penetration, but not quite lethality. It just means that no matter if you have a lot of armor or a little bit of armor, it'll still be doing the exact same number regardless. That number again is subject to change as well as more to reminders, so I won't say the exacts right now to hopefully not confuse anybody. But those are like kind of the summary really of the major item changes that are coming. When it comes to Jinx specifically, kind of what I alluded to earlier, some people will say the kind of on live build right now can still possibly work. You just don't go Infinity Edge first. You go Infinity Edge second, and you make sure you get that Zeal item first so you can have some crit to go with the passive of Infinity Edge, which will now double whatever crit you build off of other items. It won't have any crit by itself, but now when you build other items, like if you still go double Zeal, you will actually get a 100% crit chance. And as such, that's a little bit of a buff versus live, which is if you have triple crit, you will only have 80% crit chance. You will now have 100 if you go that build. However, some people are saying, well, what about the fact that you might want some damage or something else earlier? That's why I brought up Stormrazor too. Some people are debating Stormrazor could be a good first item if you want that still to go your way in terms of building damage early. It will give you some damage, it will give you some attack speed, which Jinx definitely wants, and with her minigun will also still be very great as well. And of course, you'll get the guaranteed crit with the auto attack after 2.5 seconds if you don't attack. So that one's kind of being flipped up in the air right now in terms of like a build path, because some people aren't exactly sure what a full build will look like right now. Maybe you still, Last Whisper and Bloodthirster somewhere later in the build, and in earlier items you still go triple crit, or if you don't go triple crit, you go something like Stormrazor and Infinity Edge. Some people are going that route, because depending on how you build your items, especially if you have a Bloodthirster in there, you could get up to towards 400 AD. With about 60% crit chance, and a lot of attack speed, especially because Jinx has a lot of attack speed built into her kit. Jinx is kind of special that way versus even other DPS AD carries. Sure, Tristana and Kog'Maw also have attack speed steroids if they press a button, but Jinx is like directly just into her kit. You can have no mana, and as long as you are able to auto attack and aren't dead, you'll get that attack speed stacked on her minigun. So with that said, I think personally she's one of the best AD carries DPS wise and crit AD carries coming off the other side of these changes. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean to say that she's going to be busted or broken or OP. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, like, in terms of across the crit meta board, some people are saying some crit champions are hit pretty hard by these changes. I think Jinx will be one of the better ones because of the attack speed she already has, that she won't then be losing in terms of having to delay that Zeal item because it's more expensive or such like that. But I'm getting a bit opinionated. I'm not going to try and do that in this video, so I'll just kind of end the video there by asking you, now that we kind of have an idea of what these items do and if we want to build them on Jinx or not, what do you think is a solid build path? Will the meta have to kind of, pan out first? We're gonna have to see if it's like assassins to see if we can, go something like earlier items with maybe a Guardian's Angel even, because that will actually give you more armor now if you want to build as a third item after your 2 crit items to survive assassins. Who knows, right? On top of that, speaking of Guardian Angels and a possibly, assassin meta, Stopwatch is getting a little bit of a buff. It's not going to take 10 minutes anymore to activate. It'll take 8 minutes. So just on a side note there, in terms of when you're theory crafting what you think you should build on Jinx, are you someone that thinks the standard build will actually still be the good build to go on Jinx? Or do you think something like Storm Razor now has a place in Jinx's build as an early item, maybe even a last item? Because that's one thing I will note on real quick. Some people are saying because the build path looks similar to Deathcap, maybe this pushes Infinity Edge to a better last item now, especially if you can build full glass cannon and you don't really have to build defensive items. You can build maybe Bloodthirster and be fine off of that and get Infinity Edge last for the extra AD and then double whatever crit you already have. So some people say a build path might look like, Hurricane, Storm Razor now, and then Rapid Fire Cannon, Boots, Bloodthirster, Infinity Edge last, and then just make yourself a full glass cannon of crit, joy, and fun. But I'm going to leave it there, because again, I don't want to get opinionated. I want to leave this up to you to discuss, and that's what today's video is going to be about. So, thank you so much for watching this video. If you did, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe as well. I don't know which video will be next, because I can have a lot of kinks. So until next time, take care, GG, get jinxed. Thank you for watching.